Many folks start contemplating retiring early as soon as they enter the workforce, sometimes in the 40s or 50s. You may imagine that early retirement would be a joyous experience. For many as retirees as there are others who do so for very various purposes. When it comes to job losses, some people have little option, and elder employees are frequently among the first to learn their dismissal. It's a cost-effective approach for firms to save money because they have greater experience and are paid higher. Finding another employment that pays as well as your current one becomes increasingly harder as you become older. In comparison to younger employees, older people are more likely to out of work for longer periods of time and have more difficult time returning to work after being laid off. If you're near to retiring, early retirement is tempting to avoid disappointing interviews. Some people have desire to follow their hobbies. For a lot of us, achieving our long-term objectives and aspiration is out of reach while working full-time. It's possible that you'd like to work for yourself, establish your own company, or take more trips. After retirement, you'll have plenty of opportunities to explore your hobbies and interests. As long as we're still fit and healthy, we tend to believe this will be true for the rest of our lives. However, it turns out that this isn't the reality at all. Health issues force a large number of workers to retire early. Many long-term ailments such as diabetes and heart disease can be worsened or even accelerated by working an inactive employment schedule. Taking care of loved ones' needs often necessitates taking time from work. Our parents become increasingly dependent on us as we age. A full-time caregiver may not be realistic for certain patients with chronic health conditions who require a great deal of assistance. Our wives or children may also suffer from health problems. The decision to take time off from work to look after a family member is one of that some individuals believe is better than hiring a stranger to do so. Numerous individuals are unhappy with their employment. If you've reached this point and simply can't take any longer, retirement may be in order. Retiring only for the sake of leaving a bad workplace environment might be a challenge. Finding more meaningful work and then retiring when you're prepared is a better option. As a result, you'll have time to find out how to enjoy your golden years. There is a frequent desire for early retirement amongst today's workers, but very few are genuinely ready for it. Financial independence, retire early, or FIRE has become trendy. When it comes to retiring early, a growing number of people are doing so before they reach their 60s. For those who want to retire early, FIRE advocates a strategy of excessive savings and investing that they hope will allow them to do so. To avoid the usual retirement of 65, those who follow the FIRE trend put most of their earnings into savings and only take minor pools from their accounts. It's not a sure thing, no matter how amazing it seems right now. You may want to rethink retiring early for these reasons, and I'll go through some of them in this video. Number 1. It's possible that you'll outlive your money. An individual who has exhausted their life savings and home equity in retirement is said to be running on fumes. It's common for retirees to worry about this at some point. By 2020, the typical American's life expectancy will slightly around 80 years. Your funds may need to survive for more than 30 years if your retirement is in your 50s or earlier. If you are concerned about your financial future, you may want to continue to work. If you retire at 55 instead of 65, your saving must support you for 10 more years and you reduce your earning potential when you start withdrawing. A withdrawal from your savings account means less money you have available for investment, which means that you'll have a lower return on your investment. Because you've worked hard for years to build up your retirement nest fund, you'll need a plan to taking from it when you retire. When it comes to retirement, it's unlikely that most people have adequate money to survive the entire time they expect to spend in this stage of life. Retiring too early and using your funds to pay for your retirement might leave you short of money quicker than you anticipated. Second, fewer Social Security benefits. Social Security provides a safety net for the elderly in the United States. 90% of seniors in the United States get Social Security payments, which are typically used as short-term solution to the problem of elder poverty. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Properties, Social Security is the policy that raises the greatest number of Americans over the poverty threshold. Those who retire early face smaller pensions. As a result, the Social Security Administration decreases the proportion of early retirees' monthly income because the checks will be distributed for longer periods of time. The easiest strategy to minimize your social security benefits is to wait to retire until you reach your full retirement age. You may use a social security tool to calculate out how much money you'll receive from the government. It predicts your future earnings based on your current yearly income, your birth year, and the date you decide to begin collecting benefits. Benefits are calculated based on the 35 best paying years of work history in the past. Early retirement reduces your social security benefits. This is one of the disadvantages of retiring early. When you retire before your normal age, you forfeit the opportunity to get delayed retirement credits. Healthcare is a third concern. So many of us make the mistake of assuming that we will live a long and healthy life. Many elderly people depend on Medicare to cover their medical costs. It's projected that the cost of medical care will climb, and retiring early suggests you'll have to wait until Medicare steps in before you can afford it. Early retirees are more likely to be physically and emotionally ill than others. Your out-of-pocket medical expenses will skyrocket if you leave your job before reaching the Medicare eligibility age of 65 and have no employer to help you cover the difference. Whether you want to retire early, it's good to check with your workplace to see if they provide retiree incentives. You may also buy a healthcare plan from the health insurance exchanges. but without your company's help, it will significantly more costly. In the event that you want to retire early, you'll need to obtain a new provider of healthcare coverage. If your partner is still employed, it is possible that he or she has a policy that covers you. If you don't, you may be forced to purchase coverage from the health insurance exchange, which might result in substantially higher rates and out-of-pocket expenditures that you had to spend throughout your working years. Number 4. A decrease in the general quality of life. You may be glad to leave your oppressive employer behind, but you'll face a new series of obstacles when you leave the workplace. As shown in a poll, over the 2/3 of retirees believe that their quality of life is worse now than it was during their working careers. The sooner you retire, the less complicated your life will be, assuming of course that you do not win the lotto. Retirement budgeting might be more demanding than employment commitments, and it's impossible to anticipate the cost of the future. But if you are nearing the end of your working life, you'll likely have a clearer notion of how much funds you'll need to maintain your present standard of life or support a new one. Remove costs you expect to disappear after retirement and add new ones. You'll have a ballpark estimate to work with as a result of this. Number 5. Re-entering the workplace might be difficult. After retiring from the workplace, it's not uncommon for somebody to begin searching for a new position 1 year afterward. It's typical for retirees to return to the workforce because they lack financial stability. Many retirees find it difficult to adjust their new, more free-form lifestyle after leaving the security of regular employment. You start to miss your old co-workers and wonder if you should return. However, after you've left the workplace, it's far more difficult to return. It was discovered in one poll that over 40% of persons who returned to work after an early retirement did so because they felt bored with what they were doing. It may sound wonderful to have an additional 40 hours of free time in each week, but when money is tight, you may have second thoughts. There are certain people who can't handle going back to work. A large number of retirees are content with their lifestyle since they are able to accomplish things they could not even do while employed. However, some are forced to return due to financial constraints. A return to workforce may be both satisfying and difficult. If everything goes well, you may even land a job with a company that sees your age and expertise as valuable assets. Boredom is 6th on the list. With so much time on your hands, retirement may be tough. While the initial goal was to do anything you want, sitting back every day is dull. Think carefully about how you want to spend both your time and your money before making any decisions. When making your budget, keep in mind any additional expenses associated with any pricey pastimes you may have. Consider renting if you really want to explore but don't want to constrain to a place. Adapting to a new way of life after retirement can be difficult for retirees. Retiring is seen by many as reward for their years on the job and hard work. The reality is considerably different when it comes time to retire. Their health begins to deteriorate when they are separated from their regular routines, friends, and family, as well as their ability to contribute to society. Consider the advantages and disadvantages of several retirement scenarios before making a decision if you're fortunate enough to have this option. Even if you have financial means, you may not want to take early retirement. Even if money is a factor, it's not the only one. Consider your family, health, and mentality while making a decision. Regardless of how many years you want to spend in retirement, it is essential that you have carefully considered your plans. Thanks for watching. If this is your first time here, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you like the video. I hope you had a wonderful day and we'll see you in the next video.